And, whoa, look at Magoo. Magoo streaks into the...
Thorpe's got past Gabors. They lock handlebars as they go through, but Thorpe's done.
And Kudrowski flicks his motorcycle at Larocco after they cross the finish.
Bailey, meanwhile, at the head of the pack, will take every advantage that he possibly can of the open track to put ground between himself and the rest of the field. In his career, Bailey has twice been named the Grand National Champion of Motocross. He's won a pair of Supercross titles. In 1983, he was the 250 National Champion. In 500 competition, Bailey has a pair of titles, one in '84 and another this year, 1986. Bailey is also the veteran of this team when it comes to Motocross Donations competition. This is the 5th straight year he's been a member of the U.S. team. Gibson and Johnny O'Mara. At the Trophy Donations, the race for the 250s, Bailey turned in moto performances of 8th and 6th as the USA beat Belgium 23-34. The following weekend, it was Motocross Donations for the 500cc bikes. Bailey turned in performances of 4th and 2nd as the USA beat Belgium 24-40. That was a big year, 1982, for your fine Motocross Donations performance. The Team Honda rider from Axton, Virginia, took the opening hole shot and has not looked back. He's opened a huge lead over the rest of the field, a field that includes 5 world champions. Johnny O'Mara, meanwhile, is continuing to work his way through the pack, but O'Mara has his work cut out for him. In front of him, David Bailey, of course, in the lead, running in the number 2 position, rider number 42, David Thorpe from England. Gert-Jan van Doren, the Dutch rider, is currently holding down the number 3 position, with George Jobé running 4th. In 5th, it's the Austrian Heinz Kinnegartner, then Håkan Karlqvist, and Johnny O'Mara has worked to the number 7 position. The O-Show in corner number 1 was in the middle of the pack. By the time the first lap was in the books, he had moved all the way to 11th. On the second lap, he was 9th. On the third lap, he'd moved to 8th. And now moving into that number 7 position, and O'Mara is still closing. The O-Show is turning in one of the finest rides of his career. He's doing it on a 125, and he's doing it against the best motocrossers in the world. David Bailey, meanwhile, continues to lead and continues to pull away from the rest of the field. The Americans are simply devastating the competition. With 3 riders to a team and each rider riding twice, there are 6 possible scores for each team at Motocross Donations. But only the top 4 scores, the best 4 scores turned in by a team, will count toward team championship points. If the Americans are able to hold their positions in Moto number 2, David Bailey will win the 500 class. Johnny O'Mara will again win the 125 class. That will give the Americans 4 first places, and they will wrap up Motocross Donations with 1 moto remaining. It's an unbelievable performance by the unbelievable American team. And look at this. There's Thorpe in 2nd, Jobé in 3rd, and Johnny O'Mara is right on the rear wheel of Jobé. O'Mara has moved to the number 4 position. Directly in front of him, 2 world champions. David Bailey is long gone. He's way out in front, and look at Bailey crest that hill. In his 5th year as a member of the U.S. team, Bailey has overpowered the field. His performance, though, is being overshadowed by O'Mara on the 125. Thorpe should crest the hill any second, and there he is, rider number 42 from England, Dave Thorpe. There's Jobé, rider number 10 on a Kawasaki, and right behind him is the O-Show. The weight and power differences between 500s and 125s dictate a completely different style of riding. The 500s go into the corner much slower. They come out much harder. The 125s, on the other hand, need to go through the corners with engines revving in order to come out at any kind of speed at all. But despite the 500s slowing him up, O'Mara has been able to stay with the 500s in front of them. He's kept the pressure on George Jobé from Belgium. Here's Thorpe, rider number 42, up over the top of the hill, and Jobé goes down. O'Mara has had the pressure on Jobé, and it's paid off as the O-Show moves into the number 3 position. David Bailey, meanwhile, is putting on a motocross clinic for the spectators. Bailey's performance is not surprising. The American riders have long been acknowledged as the best motocross riders in the world. From the middle of the pack on the opening lap, O'Mara caught the world champion George Jobé, who was then running in the number 3 position. He put the pressure on and kept it on. Joe Bay finally fell and O'Mara went by. He has now caught Thorpe, and O'Mara, with an inside line driving up one of those hills he was talking about, has taken the measure of the world champion 500cc rider David Thorpe from England. And O'Mara has moved into the number 2 position. An incredible ride for the Osho on a 125. David Bailey in the number 1 position has to have heard the tremendous roar of the crowd as O'Mara made that pass. Bailey has got to be wondering what is going on behind him. According to his pit board, he has, with just a couple of laps to go, at least a 20-second lead. Now, Bailey has slowed the pace considerably the last few laps, but he has to wonder now, should he pick it up? Just that. It's Johnny O'Mara, the Osho, with a clear track in front of him, has started to pull away from Thorpe. Bailey is on the last lap of the second moto of the 1986 Motocross Nations, an event that so far has seen complete, total American dominance. O'Mara won the 125 in moto number 1. Johnson won the 250. In moto number 2, O'Mara will duplicate his feat and David Bailey win the 500s. With one moto remaining and a score of 4 points, 1 point for each of the class wins, the American team will have clinched the Motocross Nations. Here's Bailey across the finish line. He takes the checkered flag, and there's O'Mara. What a ride put in by the Osho! That has to have been the best ride of O'Mara's career.